idiot is a trigger word. Idiot says something. That's what really got me going. And then that led me down this rabbit hole. Don't call your player an idiot. From the triple option, don't call people idiots. You're welcome.
Light it.
There's the music as we welcome you to another edition of the Triple Option presented by our great partner, Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Saucy Nugs today. So whether you're joining us for this live stream, if you're watching later, A, thank you. B, please rate and subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, as well as across social media. You can find us at 3X Option Show. New episodes coming your way every Wednesday. We are here to talk nothing but college football right now. Rob Stowe, Mark Ingram, and Urban Meyer here with you as we get ready.
Stone.
Yes? Am I going too fast? I'm too excited.
No.
What's the matter?
Where's Coach?
I know. I don't even... I was doing
a new background every
secret,
episode.
Like the secret location.
The secret
How many
life of
backgrounds?
Urban Meyer, man.
College football playoff.
Yeah, how many backgrounds did Coach Meyer have? More backgrounds than Texas Tech has tortillas.
By the way, I thought I was the background king, and Urban has usurped that title from me. Who knows where Coach will be next week? You know what? Who knows where Coach will be later on here on this week's edition of the Triple Option. Stand by for that one. You can find us on social media at 3X Option Show. We're three dudes who love each other and care intimately about college football. New episodes, as we mentioned, coming your way Wednesday. Rob, Mark, Urban, we're here with you. We're getting you ready for week number 12. But to really talk about week number 12, you have to talk about the college football playoff rankings. The second edition of the college football playoff rankings just came out. We're going to hit it in just a moment. Want to remind you how the playoffs play out this year. Again, 12 teams make the playoffs. 5 highest ranked conference champions. Remember that because that's going to be impactful. Get the automatic bids. The 5 highest ranked conference champs. Those remaining 7 spots, they get parceled on out to the next highest 7 ranked teams. 4 highest ranked conference champions, they get that really important first round bye. The 5, 6, 7, 8 seed teams, they get a home game on their campus. Guys, are we ready to get to it here? Because
yes, sir.
There was
Let's
some
go.
moving and there was some shaking. So we're going to put it up here for you. Craziness at the bottom. All right, so the next 3 out, Boise State, they got in at number 13, down a spot this week, but they're in as the 12 seed. So you're going to see them in the bracket, but right now they are not one of the quote-unquote 12 best teams. Same for you, SMU.
How did they go down? How did that happen?
You know who also went down? SMU went down a spot to number 14. Texas A&M at number 15, down a spot.
Because Ole Miss jumps them, I think. Ole Miss jumped them in the rankings because of the win.
Ole Miss sitting there at number 11.
Wow.
But
Ole Miss was on the outside. And
now
jumped
they're on the
because,
inside and looking good. But guess who's on the outside, but also on the inside, right? Try to figure that one out, folks.
Bulldog.
Georgia.
A&M.
This is insane, guys. If you go back last week, I have my sheet, Georgia. Last week, they were the number 2 seed in the whole tournament, the number 2 seed, and they had the number 3 ranking. That's last week. Oh boy, 7 days can change things a lot. Georgia, a ranking of number 12, but they are the first team out because of what Boise State does as winning the Mountain West and moving into the bracket. Georgia, without a doubt, Mark, has to be the talking point of the second edition of the college football playoff rankings.
I mean, you go from the 3 seed to out. I mean, that just shows you the emphasis on how bad that loss was viewed by the committee. But at the same time, they played number 7 Tennessee here in a couple of days. So they're on the outside looking in, but they can easily be right back on the inside with a win against the number 7 ranked team by the committee. So we'll see. This SEC thing is chaotic right now. A&M is on the outside. They control their own destiny. They could be playing in the SEC championship game. They have Texas at home the last game of the season. So this SEC thing is going to come down to the wire, man. It's a crazy conference, man. I played in it. Coach coached in it. We know how tough that conference is.
Yeah, in 2015, we got bounced. We started the preseason number 1 the year after winning it, and we lost late against Michigan State, and we got the same. We dropped way out of that thing. And so you're right. It's when you lose, who you lose to, and how you lose. And who'd have think you would have lost 10 spots? I mean, they're out. Georgia's out. If the world ends today, Georgia's out of the playoffs.
Right.
Amazing.
And Ole Miss, the big benefactor, 8-2, they jumped up 5 spots, and they're sitting there with the 11 ranking, right? And Ole Miss with the 11 seeds. So right now it would be Ole Miss at Penn State. Another big talking point, the Big Ten. Are you kidding
4
me?
of the top
4 of
5.
5.
The top 5. Penn State, they moved up 2 spots. Their best win all season, guys, Illinois. But there's Penn State sitting there at number 4. They went
Above
up to,
Indiana.
but give the crew and the committee some credit for Indiana. They bumped Indiana up 3 spots this week.
Wow.
The narrow win at home over Michigan. They're idle this week, and then the big test at the Horseshoe live on Fox, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So Indiana moves up 3 spots, Coach, to number 5. Does that feel right? Does that feel fair for the Hoosiers?
1 second before Coach goes. I don't want to give committee credit for moving them up because Miami lost, Georgia lost.
I know,
so
I know,
they get
but
the bump.
I say it's still. I think it's still a brave move to have an Indiana team up there that hasn't done much through their history and doesn't have that brand star power to sit there at 5. But I think that win over Michigan, over those winged helmets and the brand that is Michigan, and we know Michigan is down this year, but I feel like the committee and others, including us, needed to see them beat a real program. Like they beat the defending national champs. I think that makes people breathe a little bit easier that, yes, Indiana clearly does belong up there at number 5.
Yeah, Indiana, if the committee is watching film, and I would always challenge that, say, I'm going to get that for next week, who is actually on the committee. I mean, you used to have commissioners from smaller conferences, used to have, people on there that, all due respect, are really good good people. I didn't say that, but when they watch videotape, Mark, or they watch film, they're going to be like, I have no idea what I'm watching.
Right.
And Indiana, you watch them, which I have all year. I've been saying that for the last 6-7 weeks. They're one of the best coach teams, certainly the Big Ten, and I'll say the country. So that is certainly deserving of it. Absolutely. But once again, are they watching film? Are they, when you said they beat the Wolverines, I got news. The Wolverine version 2024, that's not a good win. I actually thought Indiana should have played much better. Wolverines just are a shell of themselves than they were a year ago. So right. I know I wish we'd get away from the blue blood and all that. It's
hard though, Coach. It's hard because that is what college football is.
I know, but push play.
Yeah.
If you're on a committee, and I know
if you push play, you respect Indiana, though.
Absolutely.
If you push play, you respect Indiana. They're a very well-coached team. They haven't played anybody yet, but they will play somebody in 2 weeks. So they will have their shot to prove their worth.
Coach, this week you pushed play on SMU, sitting there at number 14, down 1 spot. What did the Mustangs show you?
Yeah, I did because I coached at Utah, and I've also coached at a couple of Blue Bloods, and it would piss me off to no end when someone would criticize us like they did in 2004. That you guys aren't in the BCS, you're not the BCS. And I came out on national TV. I said, the hell with the BCS. We'll beat most of those BCS. Let's go play them all. I was a young guy and popped off a little bit back then, Mark. But I just wanted, before I spoke, I wanted to turn them on and say, SMU used to be in a smaller conference. SMU was, you just didn't think much of them. But you want to know what? They really invested. They must have, I've heard they invested in their players. They got some really good players. And you push play, damn. I mean,
they
damn, they're good.
They've got some
they are a really
pockets.
Good team. I mean, you throw a Wolverine helmet on them, you'd be, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So SMU, God bless them, man. They are a really good football team.
Another big jumper this week, BYU getting a little more respect. They were at number 9 last week. They go up 3 spots to number 6. And again, they showed some escapability last weekend, getting that win at Utah. And they're on top of the Big 12, and they're undefeated and sitting there at number 6. Again, though, the big talking point is Georgia. If we could call up the Georgia schedule right now, guys, and this triggers the big part of the conversation. We were saying, like, are we going to get a 3-loss team into the playoffs? I don't know. Georgia's got to beat Tennessee right now. The way that the committee set up the Bulldogs, currently dropping them down all the way to number 12 and outside of the bracket. This is an absolute must-win game for them this weekend versus Tennessee.
100%. But, I mean, look at this schedule. This is just brutal.
It's a brutal schedule.
You pop off the year with Clemson. They beat Clemson and had everyone thinking Clemson was done for. And Clemson crawls back. They fight back. They're right in the teens in this playoff picture. Then
Yeah,
you
that was
go to Alabama,
when
you
Clemson
lose.
was 14. That's when the win was, and when Texas was 1, that was when the victory was.
Right. Then you got at Alabama with a close loss. Then you have, there you go, number 1 Texas with a big win. Then you have Florida, which they're a little bit down, but then Ole Miss. Now you got Tennessee. Like, this is a brutal schedule, man. It's just back to back to back to back.
And Mark,
you
who beat Miami on Saturday? Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, yeah, down there at the
Bulldogs
bottom.
close up with that. That
So the old
game.
age-old question, and I love to hit Mark with this, is that okay? See the big G up there on the top left?
I see that logo.
Go ahead and white that out and put SMU there, Mark, or put B. Let's go SMU. All right, SMU, and take a shot at that schedule. What would happen, Mark?
That's 13 games. What's that? That's 13 games? 12 games? I don't see him beating Clemson. I don't see him beating Bama. I don't see him beating Texas. I don't see him beating Ole Miss. I don't see him beating Tennessee. That's 5 losses right there. And you could add up another loss or 2 in the schedule. So I'm like, all due respect to SMU, but like when you go and play, the quality of that schedule, that thing is brutal. So, I mean, you have to look at the quality of the schedule. You have to look at the opponents. You have to look at the strength of the schedule. You have to look at the ranked wins. You have to look at the full body of work because you have a few of these teams. I'm not disrespecting anyone, but you have SMU, you have BYU, you have, Notre Dame, who lost to Northern Illinois. You know what I mean? But
Notre Dame up 2 spots to number 8.
Does a 3-loss team get in, like from the SEC, if they were supposed to lose to Tennessee? Georgia, let's see who they lost to. They lost to Bama, who is in the playoff race. They lost to Ole Miss, who is in the playoff race. And they have Tennessee coming up. So do you punish them for 3 losses against a 2-loss ACC team who, that's not the ACC champ? We'll see. You know what I mean? But
Mark,
it's tough,
you are
man.
so good. You're transitioning me to this next conversation. We ran a Twitter poll earlier today on the Triple Option social media handle. We essentially asked that question right now. 53%
What did the
of
people
those
say? What the people say, Stoner?
The people said 53% of
We
the
love
people
the people. We
said
love the people.
putting in a 3-loss SEC team over a 2-loss ACC championship game loser, which would be Miami or SMU. So they feel like a 3-loss they're giving big value to a 3-loss SEC team. 47% of those chiming in would be putting in a 2-loss ACC championship game loser over a 3-loss SEC team. Still pretty tight on that poll, but
it's more.
Did the people speak on the BYU SMU conflict?
No, they didn't.
Well, no, an athletics
I have
director
respect for
chimed in on that
BYU.
one. We'll talk
I
about
love
that
Cosmo.
one later.
I have respect for SMU. My boy Cole Leinert, that's your future at the QB. I have respect for him. But it is a truly honest discussion. If you put those schedules for those teams, how would it fare? So I'm not hating on nobody.
So here's the other thing. I want to throw this out at you because I have talked to people on the committee that have left the committee because I was asked. And when you watch tape, which I was a maniac about that, you got to watch the tape, Okay, watch the tape. You watch the first half against Texas or the second half, I'm talking about Georgia. First half against Texas, second half against Bama. You're saying that might be the best team in the football.
Yeah.
You watched that mess last week?
Yeah.
And you say SMU's a better team.
Yeah.
Because I watched them both. And Carson, Beck, something's wrong. There's something wrong
Coach,
right now. So,
Coach, to that point, it's Alabama as well. Like I want to trust Alabama, and then I can't trust them, and then I want to trust them, and then I don't know. They're down 1 spot to number 10, sitting there at 7-2. Mark, it is crazy. Let me throw out this spicy nug for you. It was a good one. 3 weeks are left in the college football regular season. All 18 conference championship game spots still open. Nobody has booked
Spicy
a
nug.
ticket yet. That's your
I love it.
That's your saucy and
This
spicy
is
nug of
awesome.
the week. Try some at your nearest Wendy's. We love those saucy nugs coming your way. That's a good one, man. Things are wide open. So much to play for. And you
the
guys
Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10, the ACC, every conference championship is open, and we love it because that means players are playing hard right now. That means players are bought in. Coach, would you say there's 20 programs that wake up tomorrow morning knowing they have a shot to accomplish the ultimate goal, which is to raise that gold championship trophy, right? And this is why we love college football. Look at this. This is going to be like amazing. Can you imagine
there's the
going to see
bracket.
the Crimson Tide to Bloomington in the
Right?
cold?
I love it.
Ole Miss
I
going to
love
Penn
that.
State. Notre Dame going to Tennessee. Ashton Genty going against the Fighting Urban Myers, the Buckeyes.
That game
Come
up
on,
top,
man.
that game up top, Boise State, Ohio State. So that was the same game that was predicted last week, and it holds its spot. That's the only game. Tennessee remains there as an 8 seed. Last week they were hosting Indiana. This week they're hosting Notre Dame. Penn State, 6 seed now, home game against Ole Miss. Indiana, home game against Alabama. How about of the 4 first-round games, 3 of them will be on home Big Ten sites as
That's
of
wild.
now.
As of now. But
As
we
of
know
now.
Indiana has to play Ohio State. We know Georgia has to go to Tennessee. We know Miami still has to do they say against SMU. You know what I mean?
Hey, Miami,
So-
watch out. Be careful, Miami, right? Can't
They've been
Ward,
playing with fire.
all season long. All
They've been
season
playing with
long.
fire. You play with
Highest
fire, you
ranked-
might get burnt.
Yeah, down 5 spots. They're 9-1. They're down now to number 9, highest ranked ACC team. But there they are, though, getting a bye and off to the quarterfinals. But the Buckeyes.
Now, how
sitting there
about
kinda
this,
knocking on their
Rob?
door.
How about this, Rob and Mark? So you got Ohio State. They'll beat Boise, or they should. Then they beat Miami. They're going to play Oregon for the 3rd time in the season.
You've been on that one for a couple weeks now, Coach. I was pretty proud. with the
That's
first
a
time you barked
nightmare
that
for a
out.
coach and a player.
A trilogy.
Yeah. So you're going to have, they played at Eugene. They're going to play in Indianapolis probably. And then they're going to play again in a semi. Unbelievable.
They probably
First time ever.
Ooh.
Is there a team, guys, that's not on that bracket right now, besides Georgia, that people maybe need to be thinking about a little bit more? Is it an SMU? Is it an A&M? Is it, oh, by the way, the team that checked in this week at number 17, up 3 spots, Coach
Clemson?
Prime and the Colorado
the
Buffaloes,
Buffs,
who
yeah.
control
Wow.
their
The Buffs.
destiny, and they host
Wow.
Utah this Saturday. Big noon kickoff will be there in Boulder in early start, but Colorado at number 17, 7-2 overall, up 3 spots to number 17. Watch out for the Buffs.
The Buffs control their own destiny, man. They have to take it
I
one
just
week
worry
at a
about
time.
their
one
offensive
game at a
line,
time.
guys. I think if I'm jumping on that SMU train a little bit. I kind of took shots at them a little bit the last couple weeks, but they're a balanced team. They're a really good team, and oh man, we're going to be at Boulder. I love Boulder. I love.
You're
the
jumping
fact
on the
that
Matt Leinart and the SMU train, huh?
Yeah, just watching them. I wanted, before I popped off, I said I wanted to at least look at this thing, and I was not hoping, but I was a little shocked what I saw. Because SMU, I just never have thought of them that way. They've been down for so long. I mean, they're always been a decent program, but they are legit.
Yep.
Legit.
SMU, that's ACC. Colorado's in the Big 12. They got to have to see BYU. They got Utah this week. Utah is tough on defense. And
Guess what? We're not talking blue bloods. We are not talking blue bloods right there. And as an underdog type guy, I love that. I love the fact that we're discussing Boise State and can SMU get on in there, and how much longer can BYU and Indiana hold on to those spots? Can they continue to move up?
But you look at these rankings, Stoner, and I feel that on any given Saturday, any given whatever day, one of these teams play their best, they could beat any one of these teams. This is beautiful.
I agree.
Everyone wondered what this college football playoff would look like, and I think this is the most exciting thing that could be happening for college football. I've been saying it. Bitcoin is at 85,000, 86,000. If college football is a stock right now, I'm buying it, and I'm buying it in bulk. I'm loading the boat on it, Coach, because this is crazy.
Yeah, it's great stuff, man.
So Kirby Smart's had himself a couple days.
Here you go.
Nope, not yet. It's coming soon. This is me teasing things. Coming up on the triple option, Kirby Smart with a soundbite that caught our attention. We say hello to our new friend,
Got your attention.
Jake Pope out there. We're gonna have our Bet MGM Pick 6 coming your way. Also, a blind resume on the way. This is fascinating. We're gonna look at 5 programs, give you some of their credentials, but not tell you who the program is. And it will be a fun watch and listen to see who Mark and Urban said is the better program. But there it is.
My
The
program is
second-
up here.
Your program is on the good side, sitting there at number 10. The big news this week coming out of the college football playoff rankings, Georgia down all the way to number 12, and they are not in the 12-team college football playoff bracket.
Light it.
You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce, right, Mark? You've had the Wendy Nugs?
I've had
dipped in
them, and I love
All right.
them.
But, Mark, I ask you, have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs that I know you love, and you know what they turn them up to? They turn them up to 11, Mark.
Ooh, more than 10.
More than
Choose
10.
between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. There's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love.
Are you man enough to try the spicy ghost pepper, by the way? Do you think you could pull that off?
That's not for me. I'm the honey barbecue type guy.
Yeah, I can do the peppers. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and then go back and get a few more napkins and prepare to nug. Apparently, the word nug is a verb now. So, Mark, prepare to nug like you've never nugged before for a whole new way to nug. It's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Keep on nugging, America.
Nug City.
In our job, the office is always changing, whether it be at the Big House, the Coliseum, or even Death Valley. While there are many different types of offices out there, one thing is for certain. Choosing the right candidate for any office is a huge responsibility, Coach.
Hey, well, if you're hiring, you want to find the best candidates for your office. You need ZipRecruiter. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/option.
ZipRecruiter is the hiring site employees prefer the most based on G2. How fast does ZipRecruiter's smart technology start showing your job to qualified candidates? How about immediately? And you can invite top candidates for your job to apply to encourage them to apply sooner.
Remember, if you want to find the right candidates for your office, you need ZipRecruiter. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/option.
Again, that is ZipRecruiter.com/option. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Longtime Baltimore Oriole fan, Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Rob Stone back
Go
here with you. Is that what the, yeah.
Where is
I don't know.
Coach?
Kind of works.
I don't
Where
know.
is Coach this week? That's always my favorite thing of the week, Rob, is where will
Right.
Coach be
I'll
next
tell
week?
you what, I'm not far from where you dominated.
Hey, you right there. I see you
Baltimore
with
Ravens,
the Orioles.
right
Yes,
down the
sir.
street.
Oh, that's good.
There's a
That's
sta- I
good.
think I ran by a statue of Mark Ingram here in front of
You wait a second.
the Ravens.
You went for a run, Coach?
run
not-
walk.
You're no
A
run,
run
yeah,
walk.
I'll tell
Hey.
you what, I've been to Baltimore 25, 30 times, but I've seen the not pretty side of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Downtown and the waterfront
harbor.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
Great
If you need a place to go
restaurants.
eat, man, I got you,
Oh,
man.
man. Oh, they crushed us the last 2 nights here. So
Mark's
beautiful.
got a place. I bet there was
Freedom
some crap.
Hill.
The Navy Yard? No?
No, it's up on that hill with all the
Oh,
flags and the
No,
statues.
I haven't been
Beautiful.
up there. Maybe you could take
All
me
right.
next time.
This segment brought to you by the Baltimore Tourism Board. Also, we're going to pivot here and do a little heard that. We had a couple of interesting sound bites this week in college football. Let's start with Georgia's Jake Pope. There was video out there, of him celebrating on the field at Ole Miss with some people in Ole Miss jerseys. It was just a quick little glimpse, and of course, Georgia had lost. The backstory, real quick, and we're going to get Kirby Smart's take on it. The backstory is he's trying to get off the field after the loss, runs into some old friends from Buford, Georgia, who have gone to his games, who have cheered for Pope. They were also at the Ole Miss game cheering for some of their other friends. He ran into them out of the blue, was so surprised, was kind of hugging them and happy to see his friends. But the reaction obviously went viral. Here's his head coach, Kirby Smart.
Kirby, there's a video on social media of Jake Pope seemingly celebrating with some Ole Miss fans on the field after the game. Just wanted to see if you had seen that and what your reaction to it was.
Yeah, what an idiot. Just stupid.
I didn't see it till today, but he's embarrassed about it. He's upset about it. That's obviously a childhood friend of his. He grew up and played with there at Buford and knows him, hadn't seen him in forever, but just not real smart. But to be honest with you, I don't have time to waste energy on that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like my focus is on Tennessee. I'm not worried about that.
Okay, there's a lot to take in on this one. You guys are kind of giggling, and yeah, there's some laugh points, but
Kirby,
there's some real
Kirby.
serious points too. But man, Kirby, Mark, you and I were talking about it. Like, Kirby has been through it this season. Right,
Kirby's
man? He
got
has
some stuff
seen a
going
lot.
on this year.
He does. It has been a tough year for him.
Man, you talk about how he's over here pushing other players. Now he's calling his own dude an idiot in front of everybody. Like, my man Kirby is just fighting it right now. But it's okay, man. It's tough in the SEC. Just coming off a tough loss. But come on, man. Don't call your dude an idiot. But it's not
There
a
you
good
go.
look for Jake Pope. It's not a good look for him, man, to be bouncing around, jumping up and down. The teams I was on, you look like you celebrating. We probably going to dump you on your head or something, man. Like, but
Jake
Hey,
Pope,
what's that movie? What's that movie called with Jack Nicholson where they gave the guy a code red? You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, where they gave the guy a
It
code
was down in
red.
D.C., wasn't it?
Oh, I can't remember the.
I know what you're
Jack
talking about.
Nicholson,
Coach
and it
Eccleston,
was,
Tom Cruise. You can't
few
handle
good
that.
men.
You can't handle it because they gave a guy the I don't know how you go eat dinner and those players, the defensive tackles and the offensive guard been getting your teeth kicked in, and a lawn snapper is screwing around after the game. That's a tough deal, man. And it's silly. I mean, move on, but what in the world?
yeah,
Well,
man. Like,
Coach, to your point, it is silly. Move on. Don't even address it. And the big, at least I thought, Coach, and particularly in your industry, you praise in public and you criticize in private. Okay, and I understand there are some times that apparently the private criticism hasn't taken hold, and you need to maybe go out and have a stronger word. But keep that internally. You don't need to throw your player under the bus. Calling your player is an idiot. That's BS. That is Bush League. That is JV, and Coach Smart is way above it. Number two, you want stupid, you want idiots. Let me tell you, that visor is not a halo, right? Why don't you look at some of the player transactions and transgressions that have been happening in your program the last couple of months, right? All of those driving problems, speeding, racing, reckless driving, DUI. There's a battery and assault case out there as well. And you're going to call this guy an idiot and stupid for hugging somebody that he was genuinely happy to see, right? You want dumb and idiot and stupid? It's getting behind the wheel in a reckless manner and driving around and killing people and possibly impairing others. That is being an idiot. That is being dumb. Listen, guys, if I have a bad bowling show or a bad soccer show, I'm down. But if I see one of you two cats walking down the hallway, guess what I'm doing? I'm smiling. And I'm going to be happy to see you guys, and I'm going to hug you. And I get football in the SEC is a little bit different, right? Yeah. And I have all kinds of respect for that. But to throw your player under the bus, calling him an idiot when there are a whole lot of other problems behind the scenes that are really stupid,
right?
That to me seems out of character.
It's all valid. It's all very valid.
Yeah,
But
that really agitated me.
Stoner, you
he heated up about that one.
I did get heated up about that.
But it's true, though. It's true.
It's very true. I'm upset about that, man. I hope every player in college football, college basketball, college soccer, whatever it is, in life has people that bring that type of joy to them where they had just had a horrible defeat on the road, and yet they're still happy and smiling and ready to throw out a hug to see these people. I hope we all have friends and emotions like that. So,
like, I've seen some people that I really love after a tough loss, and like, you do smile, you do hug them, but like when you get whooped like that, though, I don't see the jumping up and down part. It's a little different, you know what I mean?
Truth.
But don't call the man an idiot in front of the media. Don't call him stupid in front of the media. Just let it go.
And Mark. And Coach wanted to move on, right? Coach Smart wanted to move on from this.
Yeah.
Guess how you move on? You don't
say
it.
that. Yeah,
you
don't
address
say
it
that
publicly.
Because now we got to talk about it. Now we got to talk about it.
I would have been happy to not have mentioned the name Jake Pope. And I hope folks in Athens and whatnot treat Jake Pope with proper respect, right? I hope you who want to yell at Jake Pope have friends like Jake Pope. Right? I hope you got those dudes out there that you want to hug and see. All right, I'm moving on, Coach. I'm not even going to let you talk about this. I don't.
Let Coach get his 2 cents in.
Do you want 2 cents? Because I know there's another topic we got 2 cents for.
Listen, everybody's got virtues and vices, right? And my vice was handling the loss, so I am the wrong one to talk about. There was no hugs, it was hard to hold on to solid food for 3 months after a loss.
Yeah.
It was,
especially getting whooped like that.
And I will just say this, that the investment on teams like Georgia, Ole Miss, Ohio State. So, I mean, the investment is beyond reproach. I mean, the normal human being really doesn't understand the amount of time, blood, sweat, and tears that goes into that. You're playing that freaking SEC. You get kicked in the face. I'm serious. I'm the wrong guy to ask because I mean, you guys know me. It would take me months to get over a loss.
Still not over.
60 years old. I'm still thinking about the 2015 when we lost to Michigan State. So I get it. I mean, it's a kid. He's a young kid, and he apologized, move on. But I also, I feel Kirby. I would never said the idiot word, but I'll tell you, I would have busted him up. I would have said, don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Bust him up behind the locker room
and the player.
doors.
You imagine Mark. I mean, I know Mark Ingram now. Mark Ingram's an alpha.
Yeah, the players
That's
giving it
an
to him
alpha,
too. But I don't know if I've seen any players come out.
on.
I don't know if I've seen any players come out in public and put their guy down. But I know they gave it to him in the locker room.
I think Rob's
doors,
best thing was that's behind the doors.
Yes.
But he was. I'm going to give it. He was asked about. He didn't bring it up.
Yeah. But family,
the problem is standing in front of a media. You're always going to ask those questions, and you have to say. So you can't just say move on.
Yeah,
I guess you could.
You can say. Hey,
we handled it internally.
You can say I talked to him about it. I talked to him about it, and that's it. I want to talk about this week Tennessee. You know what I mean?
And listen, idiot is a trigger word, right? Like idiot says something, and that's what really got me going, and then that led me down this.
I'm with you, Rob.
This rabbit hole. Don't call your player an idiot, right? This is according to the triple from the triple option. Don't call people idiots. You're welcome. That's today's big giveaway.
My man Kirby going through it, man. But let's go.
He is. All right, you know who else is going through it right now? The athletic director at Utah. All right, Mark Harlan upset that Utah's bid to upset BYU, the team. I think we call them the team down south, right? Correct? Did I learn that, Coach, last week?
TDS. Yep.
Yep, the team down south. All right, so this is Mark Harlan, the athletic director, not the head coach, not a player, not an offense coordinator, coming in to the post-game locker room and addressing the media.
12 years, this game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight. Thank you.
So a controversial call that went against Utah, which kind of triggered that whole conversation. He said, I will talk to the commissioner. My guess is the commissioner beat him to that, and Commissioner Brett Yormark reached out to him immediately. I have nothing but love for Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, who has already fined Harlan $40,000, saying, quote, there's a right way and a wrong way to voice concerns. Sound familiar? I think we just went through that. Unfortunately, Mark chose the wrong way. Harlan, in a subsequent statement, accepted the fine, acknowledged there are, quote, more appropriate times and avenues to address officiating. Correct. There are. And there is a part of me, Coach, that loves to see your AD, stand behind his program and stand behind his players. But I think there's a place and there's a way to do something like that. Because him walking out there and calling out the Big 12 and calling out the officiating is just saying you might as well just hand over your account number and PIN to your bank code right now, because you're going to be lighting the wallet.
There's one person on this triple option that experienced that. In 2007,
it's not Mark or me.
The commissioner of the SEC was really upset with all the coaches for criticizing officiating and said there's a new rule. You're going to get fined $30K. And I mean, we can look it up. It was actually the Georgia game. And a reporter asked me a question. I said, I don't agree with that call. I don't, some calls are missed. It wasn't something like that where they stole the game. And so I got a letter from the SEC saying you're fined $30K. And I'm thinking, who cares? Move on. And I thought, the school will pay that. I'm their guy. No, that came right out of that. That was old.
Came out of that check.
Oh,
didn't even see it, huh, Coach? They take that right out of the check.
No. Shelly had to write the check for.
She had to write?
Yeah.
From the desk of Urban and Shelly Meyer. Yeah. What did you put in the memo section, Coach?
Yeah.
See, in the NFL, if you get that fine, you don't even write no check. You just come straight out the check like taxes. You know what I mean? So I thought they would do that to you, Coach.
But I'll tell you, to say this, that's one of those ones, press pause, get your mind right and step up, just calm down. We've all been there. You're so angry, but then the problem is you watch the videotape and it was holding. If that's what I don't know the whole game. I watched most of it, but was a good, bad officiating. That's the one thing about officiating, and I learned over my career, Mark, they're right.
It's consistently bad.
You see, I think.
I'm sorry.
But consistent is the buzzword. That's all you want as a player and coach. Like, be consistent. If you're
But here's what I will say. I did it for, after every game, you fill it out.
Yes.
And there's been a couple where you missed 3, maybe 4. The majority of the time, after you're pissed off and during the game, you're like, how do you miss that call? You go watch a film and say, damn.
It was.
He was right.
Yeah.
So funny how that happens. I just want to go back to that moment real quick. Coach, when you were a head coach, did you have any idea where your checkbook was in your house?
I still don't know.
Hey, Miss Shelley holding it down. Miss Shelley holding the fort down, man.
When's the last time you paid a bill, Coach? Do you have any idea when last time you paid a bill was?
Obviously, I paid that fine in 2007. I didn't.
Shelley did.
Team moved 9 times. How many times have I been to closing? And nine moves.
0. Hey, that's why you got a queen holding down the fort, man.
When I need something done, special words. Those 3 words, Mark. Careful when you hear them. Power of attorney.
You got to give it to him. Yeah.
Give her the 2 words, Queen Shelley. When the triple option comes back, we're going to put blindfolds on the guys, and we're going to look at some blind resumes. Who is the top team out there in college football?
Light it.
Well, as you all know by now, we have teamed up with our great friends at BetMGM this season, and we're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks. We'll also have special offers for our listeners each week. Mark, you're listening, right? You're listening to this?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Pay attention. All right, so if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, we urge you to use the bonus code OPTION or go to betmgm.com/option, and you will get up to $1,500 first bet offer, Mark, on your first wager with BetMGM. We're talking $1,500, Mark.
$1,500. But here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code OPTION. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code OPTION when you sign up or go to betmgm.com/option.
It's all about the option, Mark.
It's all about the option, especially the triple option.
See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369 New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. We welcome you back to the Triple Option presented by the Wendy's. And this week, guys, a fun little blind resume ranking test presented by ZipRecruiter. Try ZipRecruiter for free. ZipRecruiter.com/option. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. So we partnered with ZipRecruiter here, and we're going to put up this graphic. 5 resumes of teams that are currently in the college football playoff rankings. And you're going to tell me, of these 5, I'm curious, who is the number 1 team in your eye? Just of these 5 programs. I'll tell you the brands in a little bit, but we look at them right now. All right. So we've got the record, offense and defense, where they're ranked in the nation, the amount of ranked wins. Team number 1's got the most, by the way, at 2. And then the strength of schedule. And there's a couple big ones, right? Number 1, strength of schedule, 81. Team number 3, strength of schedule, 100. So this is the old blind test brought to you by ZipRecruiter. And Mark, you start staring at these numbers. What are the first thing? Maybe what's the first thing that draws your eye? Because I see that 10-0 at team 3, and that pulls me in immediately.
Yeah, the 10-0, the second ranked offense, the 7th ranked defense, and then 100 strength of schedule is
and then it falls
crazy.
Falls off the cliff.
I think I know who that is, by the way. I think we all know who that is, by the way.
So too.
But the 8-2, the 5th and the 6th ranked defense with the 1 ranked win and the 23rd ranked schedule. Like, we always talk about the quality of your wins. We always talk about the strength of your schedule being respected as such. And Team 1 has 2 ranked wins, but they're 81 strength of schedule. So I'm like, this thing is difficult.
This is hard.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to get Coach's
what's
reaction.
your question for me?
I want to know, and I don't want it right now because I want Coach to kind of look at these numbers and spit it out. But I'm going to come back to you, Mark. I want to know, who is your top team of those 5 programs as you look at the ZipRecruiter blind resume? Who is your top team? Mark, I'm sorry, Coach, what are the numbers that kind of end up, I guess, influencing your thought process on this as we stare them down?
Yeah, I've coached in the Big Ten, the SEC, but I also coach in the Mountain West and the Mid-America Conference. But my eyes go right to who you play. I don't know how that to me is the number one. If you got rank wins and who you play. If you have a loss,
strength of schedule is your kind of number one component.
Yeah,
on this chart?
I look at the 10-0. That's great, but then I go boom right over there, and I'm like, wait a minute, So
are you putting a red line through team number 3 right now with that 100?
Oh, kind of. And I hate that because I love players and I love good, well-coached teams, and obviously they are.
And that's a really well-coached team.
That is a really well. I mean,
if I'm right with my assumptions,
we'll tell you who Team 3 is in a moment. Go on, Coach.
So that's where I go, and I think this committee is going to be, man, they're in a street fight and I still think at some point maybe we will. We're going to take Georgia's schedule, and you put SMU, put Miami, put Brigham Young, and you and say, okay, what's truth and what's real, and not once again, we are not defaming what these freaking players are doing to go 10-0 because that's hard. Mark, you know it's hard. Rob, you know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Winning matters.
So, but there's also a lot of reality here.
Yeah, winning matters, but also who you play matters too.
Right.
All right, so Mark, I go back to you. Then, Coach, it's your turn. Who is your top team, Mark, of those 5 and why? Or maybe who is it between? Are you caught between 2 programs right now?
It's just so hard, man, because I like the strength of schedule. I like the rank wins, but I think winning matters, man. Yep. I think winning matters, and I think Team 3 is going to have their say soon. So right now, Team 4 first offense. I think I know who that is too. I want to put respect on Team 5's name right now.
Okay, so Team 5
with 2 losses though, I can't put them above. I can't put them above
all those other numbers.
I can't put them above. I can't put them above 10-0 or 9-0 because winning matters, man. I'm gonna have to take Team 3 right now, man. Just off of
Team 3. Okay,
I'm gonna take Team 3 just because I think I know who they are, and I think they're gonna have their say coming up shortly. So they'll be able to prove my ranking right or wrong.
Okay, we're going to find out in a second who Team 3 is.
I'll go right to Team 1.
The schedule. You're going Team 1.
Yeah, just rank wins. I know it's 80 I mean, this is really hard here. This is really hard. I think I know.
Second worst strength of schedule of the 5 programs is Team 1, but the most ranked wins and an 8-1 record. All right, so Mark is going Team 3, Urban Team 1. All right, let's see who the teams are right now. Here's the big ZipRecruiter blind resume reveal. So Team 1 that you picked, Urban, was SMU. And how about that? Mark, you picked Indiana. You were thinking about Ole Miss at number 5, and I get you. But Coach went with SMU, and Mark, you went with Indiana.
I was right because I knew this was Indiana, and I was like, I don't care about the 100 strength of schedule because next week they have the opportunity to play the second best team in the country, possibly the best team in the country. So I was right. They will have their say here in about a week. In 2 weekends, they will have their say. So I'm not mad with my choice.
You know what's going to be interesting is ranked wins obviously matters, right? We get it, and we put a lot of value on it. Obviously, Coach, you did, right? Because you gave SMU your top pick and their 2 ranked wins. But their 2 ranked wins are not against top 5, top 10 teams, right? They're against lower, quote unquote, ranked teams as well. So that's going to be one of the conversations is like, how much value do you put on this win compared to maybe these ranked wins? Or how many points do you get for a good loss? Like Indiana losing in Columbus in a tight game, if they don't win it, is going to be a good loss. I don't think Indiana is going to get dinged that much if they have a bad next Saturday in Columbus.
I agree. I mean, this just woke me up here and SMU, but I keep just going back to the reality. Take SMU, who, by the way, incredible story down there in Dallas. Go slap that Georgia schedule right in there and just have a conversation. But you know what?
And looking
they
at
don't.
this,
They don't play it.
Right.
They play their schedule. They've won 2 ranked games.
And winning matters.
Man,
winning matters. But look at this. Ole Miss down there 8-2. Remember, I was kind of hesitant about the Ole Miss. I think this is the best team on the schedule. This might be the best team out of the 5. This is a good list right here. I like this little blind resume. I like this little blind resume here. These are all playoff teams right here.
Well, I ask you, I'm sure you could do this. Ask Vegas. What's the point spread? Ole Miss.
They always
SMU.
got it right. Mark, I'm with you. I think all 5 of these teams. I think 4 of these programs will get
Miami,
into the college football playoff. I think SMU, Miami. I think it's kind of only
a one big
ACC
conference.
Conference at the moment. Ole Miss keeps winning. They have to be in there. And you're right. Those numbers validate it. What a big win for Coach Kiffin. I think Indiana is in, even with some type of manageable loss. And I'm happy for BYU in the Big 12. I hope the Big 12 comes in and is a disruptor on that final college football playoff ranking. I'd love to see them sneak 2 teams in there. I'd love to see Colorado run the table, win the Big 12, get that bid, and BYU also gets it as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of football left to be played, which pivots us now to Pick 6, brought to you by BetMGM. Place your money line, prop, parlay, and same game parlay bets at BetMGM. Download the app today. Please, as always, gamble responsibly. We've got 6 games against the spread. Every week, Mark has got his deuce dog of the week. I will start things off by sending it over to Coach. Utah at Colorado. Buffs favored by 10. Big noon in Boulder this Saturday. The Buffs, we just mentioned, they control the Big 12 and their playoff destiny if they can win out. Rocky Mountain rivals, Utah in town. And we already talked about it. The Utes are probably not going to be in a great mood for this one, Coach.
No, and obviously my feelings for Utah and the coach, Kyle Whittingham, is I wear it on my sleeve. I love the guy. He's arguably the best coach I've ever been around. What he's done at Utah is incredible. I know he's getting near the end of his career, and it breaks my heart to see it going like this year. They took BYU right to the end. I think they cover the spread. I don't know if they win. Good thing I don't have to pick a winner there. But I'm going to pick Colorado's on fire. They're going to be on fire with us there. They have 4 receivers, can play anywhere in the country, arguably the best quarterback in the country. But I'm going Utah because of defense. We'll keep this thing somewhat close.
10 a.m. local kick.
Mm-mm.
Better be prepared for that one. That is morning in the Rocky
Get up and
Mountain.
go.
Let's roll. Virginia at Notre Dame. Irish, 22.5 point favorites. I was thinking about this one last night, guys. And Coach, you'll know this intimately. The Irish, they are a national program, right? Their fans are everywhere. When I say everywhere, we're talking internationally as well. Alumni from coast to coast. If you are a one-beaten Notre Dame team and in contention for a national title, you hear about it. You're not hearing about it this year. Almost kind of like suspiciously quiet in South Bend. And I think if you're the Irish right now, Coach Freeman, you are loving that you guys are under the radar right now while all these things are happening. Everybody's too busy talking about the SEC and the Big Ten. And here's Notre Dame, right? Had that big win over Texas A&M to open up things. Had that stunning week 2 home loss to Northern Illinois. And everybody jumped off the train. Since then, the Irish, 7 straight wins. Of those victories, only one of them, guys, was a 1-score game. So they are doing it in convincing fashion. You want a convincing win? How about last week? How about the fact we don't even mention Notre Dame, Florida State? Like I'm stunned by the fact that there was no conversation leading up to this game. And here's why. 52-3 was your final. That is how bad Florida State is. And maybe that's how good.
1-8?
Like, awful. To quote Coach, awful. Maybe a double awful. Yeah, Florida State, you are awful.
And this is hard to say. I watched them on film.
Pounding them.
They might be worse than their record.
To 3.
They might be.
They are worse than the record. Who'd they win? Who'd they beat?
Hold on, we're talking about Notre Dame, not Florida State, right?
Okay,
Florida State,
right.
Everybody's already piled on them. They're done. They're done. Let's talk about Notre Dame. A bit of a hit early this week. Their stud defensive tackle Howard Cross ruled out with an ankle injury, out for the game, but now not out for the season. Virginia, they got a big upset win over Pitt last week. They now remain 1 win shy of bowl eligibility. But we talked about that big spread. I think it's too big. I like the Irish to improve to 9-1, but I don't see them covering against Virginia. This one is interesting in Big Ten country. Oregon, 14-point favorite on the road, Mark, at Wisconsin. Just 2 regular season games left for the top-ranked Ducks this week. It's their last road trip as they go to Madison.
They go to Madison, and I just expect Oregon, who's gotten better and better as this season has went on. They just gotten better and better. I expect them to dominate and control the physicality at the line of scrimmage in this game. This Wisconsin defense has struggled to generate pressure. In the last 4 games, they have 4 sacks total. And if Dylan Gabriel, when he gets a clean pocket, he is lethal. Look at these numbers when he kept clean in the pocket this year. 80% completion rate, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And like, we talk about him being a Heisman contender. I think I looked at the odds. He's kind of falling a little behind Genty and Travis Hunter, so this could be a Pat Staten game for him. But I'd also look for a heavy dose. I said they're going to control the line of scrimmage. I look for a heavy dose of Jordan James and Noah Winningen for the Ducks. Wisconsin has the second worst rush defense in the Big Ten, 165 yards per game, and just gave up 329 yards to Iowa. So, like, I could see Oregon having a huge game, and it's just, for me, it's just hard for me to see where Wisconsin offensively can even remotely keep up with Oregon. So I like Oregon in this game. I think this team is on a mission. They're extremely well coached with Dan Lanning. They continue to improve. They continue to get better. It's hard for me to find an advantage for Wisconsin in this game. I see Oregon going and continuing their dominance in Madison.
I tried to find an advantage for Wisconsin for you, Mark, because you triggered something in my brain. I went to the weather app. And I did this for the Notre Dame game as well, and my second game. And the weather this Saturday across most of the nation is going to be fine, right? Like,
yes.
You could say to, like, hey man, if it's snowing in Madison, maybe I'm going to start changing things. But right now, it's saying a high of 53, low of 40 in Madison, cloudy. So it doesn't look like weather is going to.
Even so, it gets cold in Oregon.
It's a wet cold. It's a wet cold.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the A's. No, Coach, I'm going to you. Guess who's on top of the SEC right now? The Longhorns, back on top of the conference. They are 13.5-point favorites, but Coach, they are at a tricky place, Arkansas.
Very tricky place. I've been there. Mark, you ever been there?
Yep.
You played out Arkansas?
Played there twice. I snapped on them too, about $140, a couple TDs.
People forget Arkansas was the epicenter, one of the epicenters of college football years ago with Darrell Royal and no, not Darrell.
Darren McFadden.
No. At some point, Texas, man, I've been picking you for 2 years to win this thing. I mean, that's how good and respect I have their players. I respect their staff. That is a great place.
Them, Coach.
Yeah, I think they're you can swing for them to be, other than that freaking stumble that they had against Georgia. That when you watch them play, they are excellent football team, and they had that bad loss. So I'm going Texas to cover the spread. Here's a couple things: elite defense. Arkansas has given up a lot of sacks. There's going to be a lot of tackle for loss. I just think Texas knows what's coming. They got a good head coach, a good staff. I think they're going to swing really hard, and they're going to start trying to make statements. And it's tough to do it there, but I'm going to have them cover the spread.
All right. ACC, Clemson favored by 10 at Pitt. And the Tigers, guys, remember, given some life over the weekend in the ACC, they're trying to claw their way back into the championship game of the conference. They beat Virginia Tech last week. They saw Miami lose, which for the moment has Clemson in second place, right behind SMU in the ACC. This is interesting, guys. Their last conference game of the season, they closed with Citadel and South Carolina. So if you're Dabo Swinney, you have to take care of business. You have to win this game and then hope, and it's a big hope right here, that SMU loses twice or Miami falls once.
Wow.
The Hurricanes, they own the tiebreaker over Clemson. So Saturday, Clemson in the Steel City. Pitt 5-1 at home this year. The Panthers, remember that exceptional 7-0 start. Since then, they've dropped 2 in a row. Their freshman quarterback, Eli Holstein, getting the feeling that maybe he hit the wall if he hit the numbers. The Bama transfer, last 4 games, just 2 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. He's taken 8 sacks. His completion percentage, this is what's worrisome, down to 56%. Remember I was telling you, Mark, I was looking at weather across the Midwest and the East Coast. It doesn't look like it's going to be a factor in Pittsburgh as well. I like Clemson winning. covering, and then cheering against whoever the heck Miami is playing for the rest of the season. To the SEC, Tennessee in Athens taking on Georgia. Bulldogs, Mark, favored by 9.5, and Georgia has won 7 straight meetings in this series, and all of them by double digits.
All of them by double digits? Is that why they put the hook 9.5 right there?
Love
the
them
little
hooks,
hook,
man. They love them hooks.
Man, but let's talk about Georgia for a second, man. Georgia didn't just lose to Ole Miss. They got dominated. They had 10 points on offense. They had 3 turnovers and allowed 5 sacks. The defense gave over 6 yards per play. How will Kirby get this team to respond after just getting belt to arse? How will they respond after just getting belt to arse? You know what I mean? Because they have no more room for error if they want to make this playoff. Carson Beck. I'm the one that's been believing in Georgia because I'm like, he has to get off the struggle bus. 4 straight games of multiple turnovers, 5 total touchdowns, and 10 turnovers in the last 4 games. And he isn't, and this isn't like a get-right game for him. Tennessee defense is like really good. They're the only defense in the country that held every opponent under 20 points. They're top 5 in the country in scoring defense, total defense, third down defense, and red zone defense. And they have one of the best pass rushers in the land in James Pierce. Then you talk about their quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. He got a little bit, yeah, you know your boy is right. Yeah, he got a little banged up last week, but he's supposed to be okay. And we know he could run the ball. We know he can sling it. But if Tennessee wants to win this game, I feel like they're going to have to lean on Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson. The Vols have the number 1 rushing attack in the SEC, and he's just playing at a very high level. So I expect kind of like a low-scoring game, defensive-driven game. And just based on their defense alone, I think Tennessee can keep this game close. And so that is your Deuce Dog of the Week, and I feel good about this one. Sometimes I don't feel good about the dog, but I feel good about Tennessee going into Georgia. But hey, what do I know at the end of the day? Because Georgia has their backs against the wall playing for their college football playoff lives right now. Yeah. So they could come out and, play like they did versus Texas and just be dominant. But I'm going with the I'm going with Tennessee to cover 9.5. I'm going
this Carson Beck on the struggle bus thing is fascinating. Like, he can't get off. They keep driving by his stop. It's like that Uber driver that you're in the back seat. You're like, no, right here. Stop. Well, you just missed the road. Why you? No, not this second. What are you doing to me? Like,
I'm not sure in my lifetime if I've ever seen such a fall from a first-round potential draft pick.
It's
and
crazy.
Turnovers, you see the team looks awful right now. And it's just, they're not awful.
He's not getting any help from his receivers, but it's like the receivers aren't throwing the interceptions consistently either. So I'm the one that's been the believer in Georgia. Like, I've been giving them the benefit of the doubt. I've been saying Carson Beck is going to overcome the adversity, but hey, he hasn't. So
always remember when you see an interception too, this is great it's a 50-30-20 rule, Mark. Do you remember that, Rob? 50-30-20? When a quarterback throws an interception, quarterback.
Yep.
Misread, poor throw. Then you got 30% was on the receiver.
Tip ball.
It's a drop, run route, run leverage, and people forget about leverage. It's the receiver's job to get leverage on the defender, not the quarterback. Yeah. The quarterback throws the ball. If someone beats him inside, beats him outside, that's on the receiver.
Yeah.
And then 20% is on the O-line or something happened. The ball gets tipped. The O-lineman gets trucked. The tailback gets beaten in pass protection, and the ball gets hit. So it's 50-30-20 rule, and that's held up for 30 years. I remember starting that years ago.
Before we end, Coach, I have a question for you.
About the Orioles?
Close.
Okay.
What is the 45 shirt over your right shoulder? I have no idea what that is. Let's see it. Take it down. Let's see. What is it? Mark, do you have any idea? I have no clue.
Yeah, it's a
Iron Birds.
Yeah,
the
Iron Birds. I'm a huge fan.
Big fan of the.
Oh, I am.
The Iron Birds, located in where?
Baltimore. Oh, it's a beach. There's a beach right there.
I don't think
they're laughing. These guys are laughing here. What's the Iron Bird fight song?
The Iron Bird fight
go
song.
Iron Birds.
So good. Go Iron Birds. Yeah, everybody knows the words to Go Iron Birds. All right. I think that's an appropriate place to end this week. Follow, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. Don't forget to submit your questions, and we will have them answered through the course of our shows. New episodes coming your way every Wednesday. Thank you, as always, to our wonderful sponsors, Wendy's, BetMGM, and ZipRecruiter. Enjoy the college football this weekend.
And we're going to Boulder.
Pasta Jays.
Pasta Jays, let's go, baby.